Hey guys, I'm back with another tutorial, and for this big old baby blanket you are gonna need three skeins of Big Twist Value, and I use the color, where's the color? Eggplant. And then for the border I just used one skein of Red Heart Super Saver in the color white. I used a 6mm crochet hook, and it measures let's see, it measures roughly 28 with the border too, 28 inches across, and for the length of it, it's about 32 inches. But I love this baby blanket. I think it is so cute. I named it little Snuggles because the shells in it make me think of like you're snuggling the little babies. But anyway, guys, get your stuff together and let's get started. Okay, so to get started, you guys are going to need a chain 116. But since I have my baby blanket already done, I'm going to make a little smaller swatch. And the stitch multiple is 6 plus 2. So I'm going to start with a slip knot. Chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And add 2. 1, 2. Okay, so you guys have your chain of 116. Excuse me. What we're going to do is single crochet in the second chain from the hook. So not this one, but this one. And we're going to single crochet into every chain across. So there's 1, 2. So go ahead and get this row done, and I'll meet you guys at the end. I got the squeaks. Ugh. I'll be right back. Alrighty, I'm back. I've got 2 more single crochet to do. And that's the end of row 1. Chain 1 and we turn. Okay, so for row 2, we are going to single crochet in our first single crochet right there. Skip 2, and into the third one we're going to work a shell, which in this pattern is 5 double crochet. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, scooch that over a little, and 5. Okay, so now we skip 2 and we're going to work our popcorn, which is 5 doubles, just like the shell. 1, 2, 3, 4, scooch it over a little, and 5. Alright, so now what we're going to do after that 5th double crochet, we're going to pull up that loop a little and take our hook out. Now we're going to go back to the first double crochet of our 5 right here, go right into the top of that, put the loop back on our hook, pull that tight, and then pull right through. And then we're going to chain 1. Now make sure you work this chain one, you know, not super loose, but I mean loosely enough to where we can get our hook back in there, because the next round we're going to be working into that chain one. Okay, so now we got our first popcorn, so we skip 2 and we're going to work our shell into here, which again is 5 doubles. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, scooch it over, and 5. So now we skip 2, skip, and then we're going to popcorn into the next, which is 5 double again. 2, 3, 4, scooch it over, and 5. Pull up your loop, go back to your first of this set, go into the top, put your loop on your hook, pull it down, pull it through that first one, and chain 1. Skip 2, work our shell. 1, 2, 3, 4, scooch it over, and 5. So now we skip 2 into our last single. We are going to work a single crochet right in there. Okay, so now that was the end of round 2. So now on to round 3. We're going to chain 1 and turn. So now we are going to double crochet into that very first single right here, the very first stitch. We're going to work a double. Okay, so now into our shell, into the third double crochet of our shell, so it's a center one. So we have 1, 2, and then our center. We're going to work a single. Chain 2, and then into that chain 1 space right here. So we're going to skip and skip, which is this is the top of the 2 doubles of our shell right here. We're going to skip, and there's our chain 1. We're going to single crochet right into that chain 1, which I found that it kind of helps if, you know, like you're holding your project like this, if you just take your finger and kind of move that to the side, and it'll slide right in there. And work our single. Chain 2, skip into the third double of our shell, work our single, chain 2, skip into that chain 1 at the top of our popcorn right here. So just kind of pinch that to the side, slide right in there, work a single, chain 2, skip into the center double of our shell, which is the third one, single crochet. Now this part, we're not, like at the beginning and the end of this round, we're not chaining 2 to get to that last stitch. We're just going to reach over, so we're skipping, skip into that last stitch, which is our single. We're just going to work a double. Well, if I can get it in there, work our double, chain 1, and we're going to turn. So now for row 3, we're going to work a double back into this first stitch, And then we're going to shell into that single. So that's 5 doubles. 1, 2, 3, scooch, 4, and 5. Okay, now into that single crochet on top of our popcorn, we're going to work another popcorn. So 5 doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, scooch it over. Oop, forgot to yarn over. And 5, pull up your loop. Go back into your first one, into the top of your first one. Put the loop on your hook, pull it tight. Not super tight, but tight enough. And then pull it through and chain 1. So just repeat that. So we shell into the single crochet on the top of our shell, popcorn into the single crochet on the top of your popcorn, and then shell into the single on top of your shell. And I'll meet you guys when I get back over here. Okay, I made it back to the end and into our last stitch, which, you know, it may be hard to see, so we're just gonna scooch this over a little bit. And now you can see your last, ooh, I'm tangled up, your last stitch right here. We are going to double crochet into that. So yarn over, turn this a little bit, and right into there. Work our double. Okay, earlier I think I might have said the wrong row, but so our single crochet row is 1, our shell and our popcorn row, here's row 2, row 3 is the single crochet in the chains, and then that's row 4. I think I might have messed that up earlier. I don't remember. I think I did. But anyway, so for the rest of the pattern, all we're going to do is repeat row 3 and 4. So repeat the chain row, and our shell and popcorn row. So I'll go ahead and work this one more time. We're going to chain 1 and turn, and we're going to double crochet back into that double crochet right there. Oop. 1. Go into your third double crochet of your shell, so skip, skip, and we're just going to work a single. Chain 2, single crochet into that, chain 1 right there. Like I said, if you kind of just cock that to the side a little bit, and it'll slide right in there. Chain 2, go into the third double crochet of your shell, chain 2 into the top of your popcorn, chain 2, skip, skip, third, which this part could be a little confusing because the first double crochet right here, if you just spread that apart, get your fingers in that space, and it sets your your shell out. So we have 1, 2, 3 into the top of the third, work our single, and now we don't chain 2 at the end. We just yarn over, go right into that last double crochet right there, and work a double. Now I want to tell you the reason, take this off, the reason I don't have a chain 2 at the, the beginning of and the end of the blanket is because on one side it'll be a nice pretty straight edge, but on the other side it would have this big gap if we did our chain 2, and I didn't like the look of that. And actually on my baby blanket that I have done already, I changed that after a couple rounds, and you can see the difference between chaining 2 and not chaining 2. Okay, so that was our round 3. Now here's our round 4. We chained 1 and turned, double in our double right, our first stitch, which is the double, and we're going to shell right into that single at the top of the other shell. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and scooch 4, 5. Okay, now into the top of, into the single crochet at the top of our popcorn, we're going to popcorn again. 1, 2, 3, 4, scooch, and 5. Pull up our loop, go back into the first double crochet of that set, put the loop on our hook, pull it down, pull it through, and chain 1 loosely. Okay, so go ahead. I'm just gonna stick with you guys. I'll make sure you get this. All right, so into the single at the top of our double, we're gonna shell again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Popcorn into the single on top of our last popcorn. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Pull up. Go back to the top of our first double. Put the loop back on your hook. Put your finger on top of your hook so you don't lose that loop. And pull it through. And chain 1. Okay, we're to our last single. So we put our shell into this. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I lost that one. What was that? 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more. And 5. All right, so now we double crochet into that our last stitch right here. Remember, sometimes it might, get pinched in there and you're not going to see it till you scooch everything over. So we're going to yarn over and work our double. And there we go. So just keep repeating your chain round and your shell and popcorn round. And I will be back to tell you guys how many rounds I did. Alrighty, I'm back, and I did a total of 70 rows, and I ended on a, what row was that? Yeah, row 4. Ugh. Okay, so now you can be done, but if you want to put a border on there, stick with me, okay? Alright, so now I'm going to get my white Red Heart Super Saver. Ouch, I just hit my light with my knuckle. Excuse me. All right, so now what I'm going to do, this is the top of my blanket right here. You know what, let me zoom out. Okay, here's the top of my blanket. I'm going to start in the top right hand corner of I'm going to go right into my shell right here. All right, so we're going to start, get a slip knot on your hook, or just get a slip knot. Okay, I'm going to go into, let me zoom in. Okay, so this shell right here, remember this first double crochet, that's not part of our shell. So we're gonna like wiggle your fingers in that space, get that out of the way. So here's our first shell. So 1, 2, 3, into the top of that third one. I'm gonna attach my yarn. Pull it through. Slip stitch, chain 1, and I'm going to work 5 doubles back into the top of that double. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so now I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to go right into the top of, or the third, I can't speak. I'm going to shell into the top of the third double crochet. So the shell is 5 doubles. So there's 2, 3, 4, and 5. So now I'm going to chain 1. I realize my phone's having a hard time focusing on what I'm doing. Bump my camera. Okay. Alright. So I shelled chain 1, and I'm going to go right into the top of the third double crochet of the next shell and work another shell. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Chain 1, skip all this, and into the top of the third, work another shell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Chain 1, into the top of the third, we're going to work another shell. And that's what we're going to work all the way across the top. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Chain 1. So go ahead and work that across your top, and I'll meet you guys at this end. I'll be right back. Alrighty, so I made it across the top, and I'm to my last shell right here. I'm gonna go ahead and work into the top. Remember, this one isn't one of them. Work into the top of the third double with another shell. So skip, skip. 1, 2, 3, 4. Give me some slack. And 5. I'm going to chain 2, and I'm going to turn and come down the side now. I'm going to have to pause this to situate my blanket. Alrighty, so I got my blanket situated. So I've got my 5 double, chain 2. And now what I'm going to do is into the very last stitch right here, I'm going to work a single crochet. So go in the top there, work a single. Remember, that's the last double crochet of the round, not one of the shell. Okay, so we work the single. I'm going to chain 1. And now, if you see the divots all the way down the side of your blanket? It's kind of hard to maneuver. Ugh. Okay. we're going to be working into those divots. So here, here, here. So we have our single, chain 1, and into this divot, I'm just going to go right into that space. See it right there? If you pull it apart, see it right there? We're going to work 5, we're going to work another shell. So yarn over, 1, 2, 3, 4, and scooch, 4, 5. Chain 1 and go into that next divot. So if you look, you can see boom, boom, boom. We're just gonna pull that apart until you see that space right there. So we worked the shell, chain 1, and then 5, double into that next one. 1, 2, 3, I need slack, 4, and 5. Chain 1, go into your next divot. See right there, if you just barely pull, it's right, I bumped my camera. We pull, it's right there. So go ahead and work that down the side of your blanket, and I'll meet you guys at the end. Alright guys, so I've made it down this left side, and I have one more little divot place I'm going to work my shell into. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Alright, so I'm going to chain 1. Let's see. I am going to single crochet. So here's our chain we skipped. I'm going to single crochet right around this chain. In the bottom of it. Right in here. I'm going to single crochet right there. I'm going to chain 2, and now I'm to the bottom. And I'd like to keep the shell under the shell. So just give me 1 second, let me get this arranged. Okay, so what I've done, I've got my single, my chain 1, and now I want to keep the shells lined up. So for this bottom row, I'm going to go right into the base of that shell and work my 5 double. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Chain 1. I'm going to skip right across all this and right into the base of that shell with my next one. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Chain 1. Skip straight across into the bottom of that next shell. 1. Oh, I missed it. I didn't get the shell. It's right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Chain 1. Skip across right to that bottom of the shell. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Oop. Chain 1. So you guys go ahead and keep working that across the bottom, and I'll meet you at the end. Okay, I've made it across, and I have one more shell to do in the bottom of this shell right there. Did I chain 1? Yeah. So yarn over, work our shell. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Chain 2, and I am gonna try to find a corner that I'm just gonna single crochet into. I think I'm just gonna run it right into the corner. That's my slip knot from the beginning, and with my end weaved in. Single crochet in the corner, and we're going to chain 1, and we're going to turn all of this. Oops. Okay, so now I wanted to show you guys. Do you remember earlier when I had mentioned about why we don't chain 2 at the end of our rounds? Well, if you look, see how much gap I have at the end of this, and then you can tell where I stopped doing it. Now I don't have so much of a gap. I should have just pulled it all apart and started over again, but I didn't want to, so I'm just going to hide all this. But what I want you guys to do is the same thing you did on the other side, you know. Find your divot, which is a little wonky on this side. I think actually we're just going to work right into here. So let me get past my mess up right here, and I'll come back whenever I get to where you guys should be at without the chain 2 at the beginning and end. Okay, so I worked my single. Oh, you know, I'm just going to do this off camera because I don't know where I'm going to go with, you know, the part of this blanket I messed up. I'll be right back. Okay, I made it past my mistake area. Now I'm going to work a shell into the bottom of each of these doubles right here. So I'm going to go here, 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 and here. So I've worked my shell, chain 1, and I'm going to shell into that. 2, 3, 4. Uh-oh. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Chain 1, and I'm going to shell into there. So go ahead and work that all across this side, and I'll meet you guys back here. Okay, so I've worked down this side, or up this side rather. I have one more space to shell into. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So now I'm going to chain 2, and into this first stitch right here, right there, I'm going to work my single, chain 1, and I'm going to slip stitch to my first double of this shell that we started with. Chain 1 and fasten off, and that's the end of it. So fasten off, weave in your ends, and that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Let me know what you think in the comments. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Bye.